And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Put your thumbs up and say it's Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo, Tickety Boo, everything's Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo, son. Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tickety Boo. I'm here with Ian and Iona, and as always, we start off with a card pull episode.
We do, but can I bring it to everybody's attention that this episode is the 100th episode? Let's celebrate that.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
100 episodes. This podcast started out as an idea during lockdown, and a very good friend of mine, Doogie, came over, and we just had no idea what we were doing. We pressed record and just did it, and then obviously on the journey of the podcast, I had Suzanne, I've had some guests on, and then obviously latterly you guys came in and have been here championing it with me. So to everybody that's been involved, I massively appreciate it, and to those that are listening as well, the messages, of that really helped me, or thank you for inspiring me and we're enjoying it. Thank you very much. It does mean a lot. So that's my speech done and dusted. Shall we get into the card pull episode?
Let's do it.
I think it's my turn to shuffle the cards. So I'm not going to look. So one of you just shout stop and we'll see what we've got.
Stop.
Okay. When do you have a hard time asking for help?
All the time. All the time.
Yeah, I would say I'm the same. What about you?
Yeah, probably. I think I've always been strongly independent, and I also know that can also be because I was the eldest child.
Yeah.
Also, it can be a trauma response. You have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, like hyper independent.
I think it's also, to me, it's the kind of help I need to ask for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously sometimes it's just life advice, sometimes it's financial advice, sometimes, it's what's going on with your emotions or a situation. And I don't know if that's because part of you feels like when you ask for help, part of you feels like you're weak or
you're
failing.
Yeah,
Failing.
absolutely.
But actually having to learn over time that asking for help is actually a bit of a superpower.
It is.
If you do it right.
Yes. Normally by the time I get to...
It's crisis.
Yeah. I'm at a point of crisis. And help.
The building's on fire and you're like, shall we call the fire brigade? No, we'll just wait a bit and see what happens. Yeah, I'm very much like that. I will let things get to a point of going, now I'm really kind of stuck. I do need to ask for some help.
I think I go the other way because I'm just thinking, like, with a lot of the things I've had to do in my business and my life, sometimes I'm just like, I want to do it because I know how I want it done. And so it's not trusting somebody else to get something done in the way that I want it done.
Yeah, I think control freak at times.
For me, it fits into different... If I'm at work, I just call it delegation.
Yeah.
But in my own life, I do feel awkward. But having said that, even at work, if I need help, it would be, for example, could you do X in your own time? Do you mind coming in at the weekend? And I don't tend to do it because I don't want to put
upon people.
Yeah, I don't want to put my problems on other people, even though 9 times out of 10 those people would, fall over themselves to help you on that one rare occasion that you have.
If somebody asked you for help, would you struggle to say no?
Yes.
Yes.
Snap. I actually had this literally 48 hours ago. Somebody asked me for help in a way that kind of shocked me a little bit, and they were asking a lot, although I could understand why they were asking it. I've got to tell you about this. It's an offline conversation. But I felt myself in this position of feeling really quite awkward in that I wanted to help, but also because of the concept of the help needed, I really needed to say no. And no as a reformed people pleaser, no as that one word in the vocabulary that's always like, oh, it's not so much saying no, it's the silence after the no that becomes crippling. So yeah, I think that's the issue, isn't it? It's sometimes we're afraid to ask for help because we don't want to hear no, but also it's because of that, well, I've not been able to figure this out myself, I'm not good enough.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody else needs help, I almost offer help. Well, I do tend to offer help before they ask, which is which is a bit of a pain, really, because half the time people don't need, they just want to talk. Sometimes you're stealing their opportunity to learn something.
Yeah.
And I'm having to get my head around that. But I think me asking, I think sometimes it's because I'm in my world, I feel like people come to me, I'm dad, boss, people come to me. So when it's the other way round, I don't know whether I feel like a hypocrite or foul. I'm not too sure, but it's
I think for me, when I've generally been struggling to ask for help, it's because I've kind of already know what the answer is and I'm looking for somebody else to give me permission to use that answer. Definitely. But sometimes I resist asking for help in case that person doesn't confirm what I'm thinking, and then it creates more conflict for me. I think we need to have different people around us as well. There's different people that you go to for different types of advice.
Yeah, there are, but there's also a very small circle of people that I'll go to with anything. I will ask a certain circle of people for help without even thinking about it. I'll just, I'm very comfortable about vocalising it, but that is a very small circle.
Do you sometimes feel that we hold back asking for help because maybe we've done it in the past and then people haven't seen it through or delivered in a way that you were hoping that they were going to deliver, and you're sort of part of you's going, well, I'm going to get disappointed anyway, so what's the point?
Yeah, and sometimes you just know that people, a lot of the time you're actually the most qualified person to deal with the problem that you've got, and it's my issue. It's down to me to figure it out. And, both take the benefits and the learnings from it.
Mm-hmm. What about offering help? If you see somebody that is trying to work through something, are you generally, what's your view on reaching in and offering guidance and support?
I see that as my responsibility. As somebody that's a bit older with a bit more experience, especially with somebody that's younger, you don't dictate, but it's always good to offer. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know whether an opinion's the right word, but I will offer an opinion if it's asked for. For example, my lad, he's doing a house up and he's doing an amazing job, working so hard. But I will say to him, like, maybe if it was me personally, I wouldn't put the bath under the window because I can't think of a lady that wants to stand in the shower in front of an...
I'm interested,
I won't
though.
tell him, but
how is that help received when it wasn't asked for?
He rolled his eyes at first, and then when I came back again, the bath was at the other end of the room. Uh-huh. So sometimes it's nice just to offer something if you think it's appropriate. Mm-hmm.
Do you think sometimes we kind of go, I'm going to ask for help, but they better tell me this? Underneath the surface, you've already decided this is what I want to hit, or this is what I need.
So you're wanting it confirmed?
Yeah, confirmation. Not actually, how would you feel like, right, I'm doing this thing, and in my mind, this is the direction I'm going in, but I'm just going to ask for a bit of help, and then I come to you, and then you tell me the polar opposite of that. On the inside, am I going to be feeling, come on, Ian, you don't understand the script here. You're supposed to confirm what I'm already thinking. Or, are some people able to take that step back and go, oh, that's a perspective I've not thought about?
All the time.
I think it depends where that person is too, because if you... definitely when I was younger, I would have been less inclined to take feedback that I didn't want. But now, as I've matured, then you're like, I'll actually ask because I want another opinion, or because sometimes we could be so deep into the weeds, we can't see what's going on.
Yeah.
100% all the time. I will turn around and go, oh, I didn't see it from that point of view. It's dead obvious when you look at it that way. And sometimes that's where you're drawing the advice from. Yeah.
Do you think that's a skill you had to learn, though, to be able to take that advice and guidance?
It's the only thing that's kept me married this long, being able to accept it and apologise. Yeah.
But what I'm sort of saying with that is, would there have been a point in life where somebody giving you those words of wisdom or guidance would have got your back up more than today when you...
Yep, for my entire life up until I was 30.
Right.
Absolute piece of wood. You couldn't get through to me. Mm-hmm. I thought, as much as I thought I was listening, I didn't have the ability to deep listen and digest everything that was being said to me.
Yeah.
That's something that's come to me as I've got older. And the other thing is, I've realised that sometimes when I'm asking for help, I'm not necessarily disclosing all the different parts of all the different elements of the situation, which is something else that you get
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're asking for advice, but in the back of your head, you're going, well, I've not really told you this. And if I do that, so and so will get the ump or, whatever. So that's another thing. So when you do ask for help, sometimes, especially if you've edited what you've put in the question. It's worth
Oh
having to
yeah,
give
yeah,
yourself-
yeah. You filtered it. It's gone through a It's gone through a filter
On a,
first.
on a
kind
need to
of
know
thing.
basis.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I think you better just. I've learned that if you're going to ask for help, just put it out there, warts and all, because if you kind of curate a version and then you ask for help when the information comes in, it's going to get you back up anyway because it's not actually answering the real issue, is it?
Yeah. But that always involves exposure and
Vulnerability.
Vulnerability.
Yeah. So, what are we really saying by that then? That if we have a hard time asking for help, it's actually because we need to learn to get better at being a bit vulnerable and showing parts of ourselves that we hide away
Yes.
from the world. Because everyone needs help, don't they, at some point in
Yeah.
time?
Without a doubt.
Everyone
Definitely.
does. Whether that's, just some life advice or a different perspective on a situation, or actually like I've just got this going on in my head and you're not there to provide solutions, you're just there to listen.
Yeah.
Also, if somebody offers you help or advice, it doesn't mean that it's gospel. It might, obviously
It's an
digest it,
opinion.
take it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
a
an opinion.
perspective.
It's not necessarily gospel,
Yeah.
but just because their opinion doesn't necessarily align with yours and it's coming from their perspective of
Yeah.
the world and their learning, it doesn't mean they're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're getting bad advice. They're just giving
Yeah.
it to you from their perspective.
Most times where I've asked for help, I've been in a highly stressed state, anxious, overwhelmed. And actually, weirdly, some great advice comes in, but at that time it comes in as noise and it gets my back up because it's like, yeah, I hear you, but like I'm right in the middle of all of this and how can I implement that? And it actually, weirdly, it has the reverse effect. The person speaking complete and utter sense, but in that moment it doesn't feel like it's able to help you.
Can you think of any bits of help that you've had or bits of advice that have been prudent to you and that have stuck with you?
Actually, I think a lot of the times, some of the standout moments in my mind are where I've asked for help, but actually the person hasn't fixed the situation for me. They've listened to what I'm going through and then played back to me and understood. So actually they just made me feel felt and seen at that moment. And
Validated.
that validated, like, I can understand that must be difficult. Oh, you want to talk about it. I think most times it's actually just looking to vent, get it out of your head.
And the thing is, when you actually vocalise it, one is you're venting, letting the pressure out. The other thing is when you vocalise it, you actually hear yourself back. And sometimes as I'm speaking out of frustration, I'm actually listening to myself thinking how ridiculous I am and how I've overreacted.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I've been very, very bad in my life at asking for help. To me, it's always got to critical mass, and even then, I've not asked for help. I think the skill is learning to ask for help much earlier. And I think sometimes when you ask for help, it's almost you go, oh, I'm asking this person to come in and fix the situation. I'm not. I'm asking for have you got any ideas?
Yeah.
Have I missed something that I've maybe not thought about? I know when somebody comes to ask me for help, the old rescuer syndrome inside of me will be like, right, I know this person and we can do this and we could do that. And suddenly I've turned it into like a full operational plan.
Yeah.
And I've actually had to learn to go, by doing that, I'm robbing this person the opportunity of growth. Mm-hmm. I can stand beside them and I can hear them and I can offer potential solutions and options, but allow them to execute.
Well, your need to fix is you bringing your own demons to the table.
100%.
And right now you're dealing, they've got their demons to deal with, and then you're bringing your demons to the table by having to jump in, go into Operation Fix.
Yeah.
And like you say, sometimes that's something that I have had to learn more than anything. And I'd reckon, I was just telling you earlier, I'd recommended a book to a client the other day. And I thought, it's been a long time since I've read that. If I'm recommending, I better have another read or a listen. And it absolutely drummed home all of,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
a lot of this stuff about bringing your demons to the table and jumping in to help because you've got something inside of you that pulls value from needing to fix. Whereas actually their value is taking the lesson that they've learned, so they won't keep repeating the same cycle.
So in some ways, we're kind of saying if you ask for help, sometimes you have to be prepared to hear stuff you're not really wanting to hear, or you're not ready to hear. I think one of the biggest things, my takeaway from this conversation is if you're reaching that point of asking for help, do it early, but also just press the pause button and just slow everything down for a moment and just reflect. Because the answers will generally come to you. And you'll find most times when you do reach out for help, you already know the solutions, and it's actually about trusting yourself a little bit more. And then so when you do open up and ask for help, you're coming from a place of logic rather than high emotion and anxiety, where a lot of your story doesn't really make any sense. And actually, this could have been dealt with much earlier when it wasn't a crisis. So now the stakes aren't quite as high as they were in the past. I mean, there's practical help, can you help me look after the kids or, things like that. But there's other stuff. Generally, we have a hard time asking for help when we're embarrassed or worried about showing parts of ourselves or being judged that we're not good enough. So I think press the pause button, slow things down and reflect.
Absolutely. And we are talking about day-to-day stuff, really.
Yeah.
But also you do get to that deeper level stuff where you're in a really bad way and you do need to ask for help, and it's important
you
to
do
say
that.
there's never any shame in it, and that's if you're at that point and you need help, you ask, you reach out.
That is really important, because I was somebody who's guilty of going way beyond that point, getting to the point of absolutely I was already fragmented and broken. And then my capacity to help for help was really low, so it felt even harder doing that.
Yeah, you let it go too far. And
Yeah.
at that point, you're ruminating.
Ruminating.
You're ruminating. You're kicking yourself hard. You've got that negative self-talk, and it makes it harder to reach out. But that's the point when you really do need to reach out.
And I think that feeds into what we were saying, which is asking for help, doing it at that lower level when it starts as a seed that's been planted, rather than allowing it to turn into a blazing inferno.
Absolutely, but at no point on that journey should you ever be afraid to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. You should.
Help is there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reach out.
Yeah.
Really great point to bring in before we end.
It is, yeah. So there we go, another card pull episode, and it's the 100th episode of Tickety Boo. It's all of those that follow us regularly and send us the lovely messages. We very much appreciate it, and we look forward to catching up with you in the next episode.
If you or someone close to you needs to access mental health support, please contact your GP, or if it's out with normal office hours, get in touch with NHS 24 on 111. Alternatively, contact the Samaritans on 116 123. All calls are free of charge from any phone. You can also find more support information on the Tickety Boo website, ticketyboopodcast.co.uk.